Hi, today I am going to talk us through the mechanics of breathing in yoga. We are going to use three body parts: the belly, the floating ribs, and the chest. 40% of the breath work comes from the belly, 40% comes from the floating ribs, 20% comes from the chest. So, as you inhale, your belly rises, floating ribs go outwards, and chest lifts. As you exhale, you pull the belly button back in towards the spine, ribs fold in, chest falls. You're going to take three deep breaths in each position and focus on one single body part at a time. So, for that, we're going to just lie down on our back. Legs apart slightly, feet flopping to either side. Right hand on the belly button, left hand over the right hand. Nice and loose, pulling your shoulders back down onto your mats. Close your eyes. And as you inhale, feel the belly rise up. And as you exhale, pull the belly button back in towards the spine. So you expand on the inhale and you pull everything back into the center on the exhale. The deep breath begins in the belly and then it travels upwards. So the first body part that we use when we take a deep breath is the belly. So as you inhale, belly rises. As you exhale, just pull it back into the center. Let's take three deep breaths, and as you take those three deep breaths, just focus your attention on the movement of the belly. And then we go over the second body part, that's the floating ribs. It's a little bit differently placed for each of us. So just take your right hand to your left floating rib, which is just above the diaphragm below your chest, and then take your left hand over to your right floating rib. So with your arms crossed over on your floating ribs, just inhale, feel the floating ribs go outwards, and as you exhale, they just come back into position. The breath still begins in the belly and travels up to the floating ribs, but as you have your hands on your floating ribs, just pay attention to the movement of the floating ribs. Outwards on the inhale, coming back in on the exhale. So as you inhale, ribs go out. As you exhale, they come back in. Three deep breaths here. And the third body part will be our chest. So take your right hand, place it on the left side of your chest, just like you're locating your heartbeat, and then your left hand crosses over to the right side. So palms crossed over on your chest. Take a nice deep inhale, chest rises, and as you exhale, the chest falls. 40% of the work is in the belly, 40% in the floating ribs, only 20% in the chest. So it's a very subtle rise and fall. We are not heaving our chest up and down. Just a subtle rise and fall of the chest. As you inhale, chest rises. As you exhale, chest falls. Breath begins in the belly, but right now let's just focus our attention on the movement of the chest for the next three deep breaths. Now place your hands down by your sides, a little bit away from your body, palms facing upwards. We used each body part in isolation. We paid attention to the belly, the floating ribs, and the chest. Now we are going to use them together. Just take a nice deep inhale and exhale after that. So as you inhale, belly rises, ribs go outwards, chest lifts, and as you exhale, you pull your belly button back in towards your spine, ribs fold in, chest folds. As you're lying down and breathing, your eyes stay closed. We're going to do 4 counts to inhale, 8 counts to exhale. And let me remind you, as you're doing that, you are using your body parts the right way. Expand on the inhale, pulling everything back into the center on the exhale. So the most efficient inhale you can take in those 4 counts, and then using those whole 8 counts to release that breath. So pulling the belly button back in towards the spine, gently and with control. Now, slowly as you inhale, take both your hands up, take a stretch for your whole body. You can keep your eyes closed through this. Then hug your knees to your chest. You may want to take one leg at a time towards your chest, depending on how your lower back is feeling. Just rolling your lower back on the floor, side to side, and then roll over slowly onto your right side. Take a moment there. And then when you're ready, you can slowly just come back to a seated position with your eyes open. Once you're there, we are going to stay seated. You can stay cross-legged. You can take one leg over the other. You can just sit cross-legged. If neither of those positions work, you can feel free to just sit with your legs out. Whichever way you're sitting, try to keep your tailbone back, abdominals going back, so your shoulders forward just a little bit so your spine stays nice and long. Loose shoulders away from your ears, long spine, hands on your thighs, palms facing up, forefinger to your thumb. And from here we are going to do the same breathing exercise, 4 counts to inhale, 8 counts to exhale, using the belly, the floating ribs, and the chest. Let's just do 4 deep breaths like that. So close your eyes, chin down slightly. 4 to inhale, 8 to exhale, 4 deep breaths. Efficient inhale, controlled exhale. When you finish those 4 deep breaths, slowly open your eyes, bring your head up, And that is the mechanics of breathing in yoga. Ideally, we would like to breathe using those body parts the right way. Expand on the inhale, pull everything into the center on the exhale, going through every posture. And we would also like to use a special breath called the Ujjayi breath, which I will detail in my next video. So this is just the basic mechanics of breathing, a breathing exercise you can do anytime, even just before your yoga practice starts. It's a good time to do it. So thank you very much for joining me. Namaste.